currently wear two hats. First, as founder of Policy Shapers, an open source platform for policy ideas. But I also work at Pain Foundation. It's an NGO committed to development in the Niger Delta region. So that's like the southern oil-rich region of Nigeria. Besides this particular board engagement, I also advise the Association for International Broadcasting. It's based in London on their annual awards program. And I'm also on the Queen's Commonwealth Essay Competition jury. So I'm pretty much looking forward to learning a lot more about how to make the best of these opportunities. And also, trying to see how we can use boards as a form of advocacy within the organization and trying to push causes as well. Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Ebenezar. Came up, wasn't it, Ajoma? First of all, English as the language, the idea that somehow these concepts can always be, one's views can always be reflected through English. English is the dominant language which frames the debate. Again, is a problem, and a UK-centric sort of view of the world, with all the sort of educational theoretical debate around racism starting from a UK educational perspective, and the language that even Black UK academics might use is actually alienating. And Jeremy, you might want to say a bit more about
how far can that commitment go in a way that's still practical and helpful, and doesn't cause any more confusion. Yeah. So with the challenge, with the new narratives challenge that we're doing, for example, we debated long and hard about what language should people be able to submit content in. So it's something that comes up over and over and over again, and I know we haven't yet got the answer. And that's but it is something we need to keep talking about. Martin, were you going to
well, yes, it's absolutely right and really well said. And I was particularly struck by the way that this group has, found some key structural issues that actually go way beyond new narratives and strike right at the heart of the UK, and the British Council and the way that we operate. And the one that really strikes me is the English language proficiency test point, because here we are talking about a new narratives dialogue and different perspectives, but then at the same time, it's pointed out here that first of all, English, the levels of English are actually very good globally. And I think particularly in Africa, but the actual cost of the test, which the quotation here, in Nigeria, citizens have to pay twice the minimum wage to sit for these tests, which expire within 3 years. That's the kind of systemic thing that has to be addressed if we're going to have any credibility, because actually, that is not, that kind of fee is probably unnecessary, and there must be ways of addressing that. So I think if you can point out those kinds of systemic issues, as well as looking at the programme itself, it's really helpful. And it is need to hear those, because you have to live and breathe it. It's like you can't do these programmes in isolation from the whole of your organisation and the way it's structured and the way it operates and the way it's kind of historically been developed over the course of many years.
Agreed. And I think to that point, something I've also seen is that there's some points that we have to make over and over and over again.
For me, that's just the feedback that I would give for now, to say definitely, I can point to, as you were speaking, a couple of experiences where, we've had to manage conflict, not necessarily within this particular board of ours. And this was generally caused by the fact that we've got different views and we don't know which one to prioritize. And I think also the point of building our listening capabilities is a very, very important point. It sounds light, but I don't think until you're in such positions do you understand that listening is an actual skill that you have to be intentional about. And I think just to add from my experiences, I've seen that, particularly as a chair, I think you also have to, it takes a bit of humility, for you to step back and say, my views are not necessarily the best ones to push forward. And I think in an African context, sure, we do say it goes, and that might not necessarily be the best way to go. So that's certainly one thing I've picked. And ever since Ojoma said this, because Ojoma, I think together with Linda, had a brief chat with myself and Megan before we had a chat with the board. The moment she mentioned this, for me, it changed the approach of how we're going to collect our thoughts. Just for instance, the example you gave, Martin, on the language proficiency test, that was Ebenezar's input. And I think before we had a chat with Ojoma, probably maybe we would have argued to say, is this even relevant to the proposal? Is it out of context? Is it within the scope? But ever since she put that to our attention, to be intentional about including everybody's views. I think that would be my feedback.